I need to make this video before I forget to ever make this video. I've wanted to make it for weeks, and I'm like, how should I present it? How should I do it? Because mind you, it's not a guilty pleasure. Let me rephrase. It is and it isn't a guilty pleasure. It went on for 8 seasons, so obviously it's good television, right? So the show is Vampire Diaries. Now, some seasons are good and some seasons are not as good. So I enjoy some mythology. So when I say that, this was before like Twilight became a thing. I never watched True Blood, but before like the whole vampire craze became a thing, before every TV show we had out there was vampire related, for Babysitters of Vampire, before True Blood, before Twilight, before anything else that was vampire related on the television, I enjoy like mythology when it comes to like, creatures, vampires, werewolves, all that jazz. Mermaids, name one you like. And so you had Twilight that came out. Not saying Twilight's bad, but I didn't get into the whole craze of Twilight. Not saying it's bad, it wasn't my favorite thing. I still watch it, don't get me wrong. Like, I watched the first movie, I watch Eclipse. I haven't watched Breaking Dawn in a bit, but I know what happens. And New Moon happened. It's been a while since I've watched it. True Blood, I tried to watch. The fangs were too long for me. So stopped watching it. But for me, what I could watch that was readily accessible to me was Vampire Diaries. I think why I enjoyed this show so much at first. So this show came out when I was in middle school. I'd heard about it, and I was like, my God, another vampire show? And a friend told me about it, and they're like, no, you need to watch this show. And I was like, okay, I'll watch it, and I better not hate myself. I didn't hate myself. Because the thing was, so they were at their like winter break, so I was able to kind of catch up through the reruns on the television. I got sucked in. And then I read the books, and then I read the spin-off books of Stefan's Diaries, and I got sucked into this franchise. I had a shirt. I was one of those people. But I highly suggest this show. And at some point, maybe I'll do more of like an in-depth analysis on like each season and like characters. But as a broad overview, I can tell you like which seasons. I've ranked them all. But just as a broad overview, the show just does very well. Like, they chose great songs. Like, I listen to the songs to this day. Like, I went on a road trip this weekend, and some of the songs popped on, and I swear tears were busted, or like the scene from the show popped in my brain, and I got happy. And yeah, that happens with other shows too, but if you can do that to me, obviously you mean something to me. But what this show does is you go through 8 seasons, so much character development, for some more than others. Mind you, you'll hate some characters as time goes on. Matt. God. there is constantly a running joke when it comes to Matt. I rewatched the series recently. I don't want to have to say Matt is okay. He's fine, but I don't want to give him justice because he still makes me angry to this day. But there's character development for all the other characters aside from Matt. He's irrelevant, taken out. There's so many themes that I think a lot of people can relate to when it comes to loss, when it comes to like redemption. Of course, when I say loss, also grief. Just so many different things that at any age people can relate to. And I think they tried to do as best as they could with what they were given. And when I say that, with the situation that was going on, one of the main characters, like literally the main girl, left because she wanted to try and pursue other acting, roles. Didn't really happen, but like all too well, it didn't, but she tried to pursue other acting roles, wanted more. And that's understandable. I get that. Like, you don't want to be known for one thing your whole life and it's just a vampire show. I get that. Like, you want more in your credit, in your filmography, in your repertoire. I get that. So, they had to try and work themselves around that. Had she stayed, literally, like, they had so much more planned out. They had 3 more seasons, so it was for 8. They had 11 seasons that they were gonna do. They had a different ending ready. It would have been a completely different show. But they made it work with what they had. And it was fine. Honestly, the main girl wasn't my favorite anyway. But she does play an important part. So, but, and I think maybe I feel so passionately about this show too is because literally from middle school up until I was in college, just like that whole time, literally from preteen to boom, adult, you've got this thing that has connected your life together that, you have just this, I don't know, it's great. And then there's some history with it too, because since it takes place in some of those flashbacks are from the Civil War time frame. So if you enjoy some part of history, there's some historical elements in that as well. Of course, it's historical fiction. None of the people are real. And the place isn't real either. They actually filmed in Georgia, even though it says Virginia, but the actual filming is in Georgia. But and then along the way you meet so many different characters, and along the way they get a spin-off show. And then after this series, after Vampire Diaries and the originals, that got another spin-off series. So I mean, it still continues to play an integral part even to this day. I still try to watch it. So of course, this is just a brief thing. It's turned out to be way longer, but as time goes on, I'll probably do more because this show has a lot to it. But, tell me your thoughts down below. Do any of you kind of feel the same way about this show as I do? Feel free to leave any of those comments down below. Who was your favorite character, and how do you feel about Matt Donovan and the Donovan family? Or Tyler. Yeah, Tyler sucked too. feel free to leave that name down below too, and how you feel about that family as well. And feel free to like and subscribe if you'd like, and I'll talk to y'all later. Bye.